Welcome to our new show about education in Reading. I'm Dr. Sherry Vandenacker. I have two children in the Reading Public Schools, and I'm an educator, and I'm excited to inform the community about some of the things that are going on in our schools. I'm here today with Superintendent Dr. John Doherty, and we're going to talk about science in the district. We have so much going on in our classrooms and in our extracurricular activities. So let's get to it, shall we?
It's great being here. Thanks for having me.
Let's introduce you a little bit first, though. So you started your teaching career here in Reading, didn't you?
I did. I've actually been in education for 34 years now. My first 4 years I was at Austin Prep, and then I'm entering, next year will be my 30th year in the Reading Public Schools. In 1987 I began in Reading Public Schools at Coolidge Middle School as a 7th grade science teacher. Became a principal at Coolidge in 1995, and then became assistant superintendent in 2005, and then eventually moved up to the superintendency.
Tell us about your college preparation to be a science teacher.
Yes, I wanted always to do something with science. I had role models throughout my entire career, my education career early on, that science was my favorite subject. And so I decided that when I went to college, I wanted to major in biology. So originally I started and I was at UMass Lowell, ULowell at the time. I majored in biological sciences. And originally I went into the lab science field. And I was headed in a direction where I was going to be doing more of the lab sciences, doing research. I actually did some research on DNA in viruses and presented. And then in my junior year in college, I decided, you know what? I can't see myself sitting in a lab my entire life. And I wanted to go into education. So I took a summer program at Brandeis University that year, continued in my senior year at ULowell, and then went into a direction of education, and then got my master's degree at what then became UMass Lowell. And then I received my doctorate degree several years later. I went back in 2007, and in 2009 I received my doctorate at Seton Hall University as part of what they called their executive EDD program.
That's great. Do you miss the classroom at all?
I do miss the classroom a lot. I try to find ways still to be involved with students, but I do miss the classroom. I miss the engagement of the students.
And your children also are graduates of Reading Public Schools, aren't
Yes, yes. Both my daughters have graduated from Reading Memorial High School. My oldest, Erin, is currently a junior at Hofstra University. She's majoring in dance education and dance. And my youngest, Shayla, graduated last year from Reading Memorial High School. She's a freshman at Worcester State University, and she's double majoring in elementary education and mathematics. So both of them are going into education, and really that's their passion, is working with children, and I've already seen that in a lot of ways with them.
The apple isn't falling far from the tree.
Well,
That's
and my
wonderful.
wife is in education as well, so I think she has a lot to do with it too.
So 1987, you came to the district.
Yes.
It's interesting you mention that because I have here a textbook that my daughter brought home when she was in 6th grade. She's in 8th grade now, and I was teaching her how to cover it with the paper bags. Remember how to do that?
Oh, yeah.
And I was thumbing through the book, and I was astonished to see that it was published in 1987.
Yes.
And 1987 was actually really a long time ago. When this book was published, what did we not have? No Hubble telescope.
No.
No space station. No human genome. No personal computers. Certainly no cell phones. No internet for the common person. So I'm really excited that we're updating the curriculum because I think it's definitely high time.
Yeah, I agree.
So last year, then, town meeting approved $150,000 to start this process of bringing us into the 21st century. Is that right?
That is correct.
And what did we do in that phase?
So I'll back up a little bit,
Sure.
because I think a really good question is, why did we wait so long?
Yeah,
from
I
1987?
agree. Thank you for that.
And there were a lot of starts and stops into wanting to improve our science curriculum. At the elementary level, we also have kits that we've been using for over 30 years called STC kits. And I think it was a combination of why we didn't do more. To do science, you really have to do it right, and you have to invest significant time, effort, and funding because it is such a highly consumable curriculum. And so we were waiting for a couple things to happen. One was there needed to be shifts in the state frameworks. And there were a lot of starts and stops with the state frameworks. They were going to change them, then they didn't change them. And then finally they did in 2006. But then what happened is we had some funding issues in the district, so we were not able to update it at that time. So finally, when they just recently updated them again, we realized we have to do something. We need to change the way we're teaching science and really update what we're doing. And as you said, a lot has changed since 1987 in terms of information, technology, things like that. And so this was the time to do it. And so thanks to the work of our teachers, Assistant Superintendent Craig Martin, we've had professional learning communities at the elementary, middle, and high school level in science that have been really looking at how can we align to the new curriculum frameworks at the state level, and how do we phase this in over the next 3 years. And the reason why 3 years is important is because in 3 years, the state assessment is going to reflect the new frameworks. So the teachers and Craig and principals have spent a significant amount of time researching areas. And last year, they did some piloting the year before. And the big area that they looked at was the upper elementary at first, because we wanted to make sure that those students were getting the preparation, the curriculum, but also the practices in how to think like a scientist in terms of measurement and experimentation and using the scientific method and modeling and really learning and thinking a new way of inquiry-based science. We wanted to make sure that they were getting that foundation so that when they went to middle school, and we were going to be phasing in at the middle school as well, that those students would be coming in with those skills.
So the new frameworks and the curriculum you were looking for wasn't only different in terms of content, but it's really a different pedagogical approach.
Absolutely it is. Yes, okay. It's much more hands-on. It's what is called inquiry-based, where the students are discovering. The teacher is more a facilitator of the class. Students are working in groups, so there's a lot of collaboration involved. This is also a big piece, if you want to make the connection with social emotional learning, is that students working together, they're learning skills, they're learning how to relate to each other. Those are all important skills to have, and when you go into the real world, those are skills you need to have, because very rarely do people work in isolation anymore. The program that, or the curriculum that the grades 3 through 5 are using right now is called the No Atom Science Curriculum. This is the first year that the students are fully implementing this curriculum. Last year we did have classes piloting it. In grade 6 we're also doing some work. We're not doing No Atom, but we're doing a similar approach with online materials, technology, also consumables and durables, and aligned with the different frameworks for grade 6. I should also mention that a big difference at the middle school level between the old frameworks and the new frameworks is what is being taught in each grade. So under the old frameworks, physical science was taught in grade 6, life science was taught in grade 7, earth science was taught in grade 8. And that was called a layered cake approach. What is happening now in science, and we're seeing it now in grade 6, and it will get phased in over the next 2 years, is that it is an integrated approach. So you're looking at every year life science, physical science, and earth science being taught every year at every grade. And it's a spiral approach. And what you're seeing is they will study topics that are appropriate to their developmental age and knowledge and understanding. They'll get more complex in grade 7, and then obviously much more advanced in grade 8. And then that will prepare them for high school for much more rigorous classes in biology, chemistry, physics, and then any electives that they take.
So going back to the elementary then, I brought some of the materials
Yes.
here from the No Atom program. So the students then, in each unit, they get one of these readers.
Yes, they do.
And they get introduction to content and concepts. And then I noticed they do labs, even in third,
Yes,
fourth,
they do.
fifth grade. These are from third grade, these
Yes.
materials. So that's really different than what I did. I mean, we put some seeds in a cup maybe, but
To
not
see what,
much
right,
else.
right. What's amazing, first of all, it's a very visual material. It's something, the vocabulary level is very complex, which is good. It's challenging the students. But I think the great thing is that they are writing like scientists in grade 3. And then those skills are carried into grade 4, and by grade 5, I mean, they're writing full-fledged lab reports that are very high level. And we've seen that. I've had the opportunity to go into many classrooms and watch the No Atom topics in action, and I'm just amazed. Things that I'm seeing at elementary are things that I used to teach in middle school.
Right.
And the way they are doing it, those are the things we used to teach in middle school. And now to see it in elementary is really exciting, because that means that at middle school you could take those skills and even make them to a higher level.
And the standards themselves explicitly mention integrating with the ELA curriculum
Yes.
frameworks and the math as well. Right?
That is correct. So the other good thing about this curriculum and the program that we're using is that you are using a lot of the literacy skills that they're learning in their literacy classes and reading, but also the math. You're right. So you really are integrating those skills as well. And nonfiction is a big part of the literacy standards now, and certainly science would fit that. So it's really, and there's a lot of writing involved, which is also important.
You have an experiential piece also, don't you, in the 5th grade and in the middle school? The students are able to go on an overnight trip to Nature's Classroom?
Yes, yes. So next year, our 5th grade students will be going to Nature's Classroom. Prior to next year, they've been going to Camp Borndale, very similar experience. But and at the middle school, Nature's Classroom, they've been going to Nature's Classroom for several years, both at Coolidge and at Parker. And it's a great trip. There's a lot of hands-on learning. It is very connected to the types of things that we're doing in the classroom. It's outdoors, but you also learn leadership skills, team building skills, problem-solving skills, all of those things that certainly we want our students to be able to work with others and get very good at. So yeah, there's those two great experiences. The Nature's Classroom at the 5th grade is one night, and at the middle school level, it's multiple nights.
And how is that funded?
Those are funded by families. Families are funding that. That is not something that comes out of our operational budget. And PTOs, I should say. PTOs play a big part in that as well.
And there are scholarships available, so
Yes,
that
there
no
are.
child would have to stay home as a result of...
Absolutely. We would not want any student to be denied the opportunity of experiencing these trips.
My children loved it. They didn't always love leaving their phone at home.
Oh yes, because
one of the
that's a
things
big
we
part
really
of it.
valued.
It's a big part of it. Yes.
So now in the middle school level, you mentioned having more digital materials?
Yes. So in 6, 7, and in 8, there are a lot of digital materials now. We have pretty much gone away from the paper textbook. There are class sets in each classroom, but now students are using more of the materials online. And the advantage to that is it can be updated easier,
Right.
so that the 1987 textbook doesn't exist anymore. But it's more interactive also. So you can click a link, you can do interactive labs, as well as hands-on labs, but the interactive piece, the interactive labs, you can watch video clips of different topics. Really highly engaging for the students, and they understand and learn the science.
Right, so there's more multimedia, there's less of the backbreaking
Oh, backpacks, right,
situation.
right. Right.
And you can never have the excuse of, well, I left my book at school, and
Correct.
therefore I can't do
That's
my homework
correct.
now, right? What happens if a family can't access books online? Maybe they don't have internet or devices.
So we certainly, as I said, we do have, we still have copies of, of the actual textbook. There are also opportunities where they can use the computers before or after school, Reading Public Library. So I believe each student, the way it works, and I may be wrong in this, but I believe each student gets their own access code. So they can go on to any computer. It doesn't have to be one at home, and they can go online and access the material.
So the standards then, the new curriculum standards are different, you said, because they do focus more on engagement and they focus more on coherence, right? Where
Yes.
They're covering, as you said, the 4
Science,
topics
yes.
in each grade. Now at the high school level, though, what happens at the high school level?
The high school, there will be a little bit of integration, but I believe that they're going to stay layered cake. You do see the topics are more complex, the laboratory experiences are more complex, and you need to go in greater depth into those areas. So 9th grade, for now, will remain biology. 10th grade will be chemistry. 11th grade will be physics. In 12th grade will be your AP classes and electives. There are some AP classes that you can take as a junior in 11th grade. I believe also you can take AP chemistry as a sophomore as well. We do have a variety of engineering classes that you can take as early as 9th grade that also would complement the standards for engineering, science, and technology. So the electives that we have range from environmental science. We have AP physics. We have AP biology. We have AP chemistry. We have AP environmental science. We have a meteorology class. I mentioned we have the engineering classes. So we have a forensics epidemiology class. So we do have various ways that students can expand their knowledge of science beyond the 3 years of freshman, sophomore, junior.
And so in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, students can take either strong college prep or honors.
Correct.
And then as they progress, they can also opt for AP.
Correct.
And
Correct.
then take advantage of some of these electives. too,
Absolutely,
right?
yes. I think a big advantage of this type of continuum, coherence, in grades 3 all the way up to 12, and teaching the types of science skills that we've talked about today, it really, I think, opens the door for all kids to want to be scientists. Nationwide, we've always had a concern that females maybe don't as readily want to go into the sciences or mathematics or the STEM areas. I think by doing this in your early grades and teaching them the skills and having them work with others and learning these things, they clearly have the capacity. So to be able, they're going to say, hey, I can do this. And I've seen that over the years when I was involved with the Science Olympiad at Coolidge. The amazing things that females can do in engineering and mathematics, and I think this just gives them the confidence to create more future engineers and scientists. So it's exciting.
And coding also. Are we doing work with coding?
We do. That's not necessarily connected to science classes, but we do have coding that our technology integration specialists and our library media specialists do different events throughout the school year, both at elementary, middle, and at a high school. And I think every school does the hour of code, but in addition to that, we have computer science classes at the middle school level and the high school level where students can engage in the coding activities. I think computer science is something that is something we need to be forward thinking about and finding ways to integrate that more into our curriculum. And it's something we're not there yet, but I think that's something that we need to keep an eye on and move forward with in the future.
Now, our students also have a lot of opportunities to do some extracurricular things in science, technology, engineering, and math too, although we're not focusing so much on that today.
They do. I'm very proud of the fact that our district offers a lot of opportunities outside of the classroom that really connects to what's going on in the classroom. And I'll start with robotics because that's a very popular area in our community, which starts as early as elementary, goes all the way up to high school. So we have the first Lego League at the elementary and middle school level, which we have over 130 students participating in grades 3 through 6, 3 through 7. And those students they work in teams. It's run by our after-school program. Sandy Calandrella does a great job with the organization. We have people coaching those teams, and then they have an exhibition in February at Endicott College, which was very well received this year. At the high school level, our community is very well aware of the success of our robotics team, the Robockets, and what they've done in the very short time. I believe they've been in existence 5 years now, and have done some amazing things and are competing both regionally, but at the national level they've competed, and they've won several awards and events. The current senior class was the first group that started with the first Lego League all the way back in elementary school. So it's a really nice farm system that's starting to happen. And then we also have Science Olympiad,
Right.
which has been around for over 20 years now in Reading. So both Coolidge and Parker have Science Olympiad teams. The high school has a Science Olympiad team. And Science Olympiad is a little bit different from robotics in that there are individual events. There's usually 20 to 24 events in all of the different subject areas of science and also in technology. And students work in pairs, and they compete against other communities in those events. And as you know, that we've had a lot of success in Reading with our Science Olympiad at the state level, and Coolidge has been very successful, has gone on to the national level.
Yeah, Coolidge won the state competition.
They
Is
did.
that right?
They did. Yeah,
Go
this year.
Coolidge.
Yes.
Good for you guys.
And they're going very shortly to Wright State University, I believe,
In Ohio.
in Ohio.
So tell people a little bit about what First Lego League is and what First Robotics League is, if they don't know.
Sure. So it's more than just the robot, and I think that's an exciting piece because it's a team approach. And at the elementary level, there's a certain task that they need to complete. There's an arena or a playing field, and each year it changes. So you get a new challenge every year. But there's a presentation piece as well, where students are learning to present to a group on a particular topic. Sometimes it's an environmental topic. Sometimes it's some other science-related topic. So you're getting those presentation skills. You're getting the science and computer and coding skills that come with the robotics piece. And then when you move on to the high school level, the first level, it's called, there's a community outreach piece. There's an entrepreneurship piece. There is the actual building of the robot. And there's a coding piece, a computer coding piece. So it's not just about the robot, it's how do you reach out to the community? And several of our high school students are coaches in the elementary level. And how do you do fundraising? How do you do outreach to different groups? How do you raise money? So how do you come up with a business plan? These are all 21st century skills that go beyond just the science. So it's very exciting to see these students do this. I've had the opportunity to judge the Reading event for the last 2 years, and I've just walked away amazed at what these high schools and what our high school kids are doing.
It's scientific thinking, but it's also creative thinking.
Absolutely.
And
Both sides of the brain.
collaborative. That's right. Thank you so much. We're just about out of time.
Okay.
It's been a lot of fun to talk about science with you, and we're going to have the Robockets come in and demonstrate their robot.
Oh, that's great.
Along
That's great.
with their wonderful coach, teacher Charles Strout at the high school. So we'll
Great.
look forward to showing some of that.
First Robotics Competition is a fun, challenging, inspiring science and technology program for kids, grades 9 through 12. It's one in a progression of 4 programs that make up FIRST, an international STEM organization founded by Dean Kamen, designed to foster 21st century life skills and spark kids' interest in science, technology, engineering, and math, so they become innovative problem solvers able to tackle the world's biggest challenges. In the FIRST robotics competition, teams of high schoolers are given just 6 weeks to design, build, and program a robot capable of playing a challenging field game with and against other robots. But it's way more than robots. It's about learning new skills, working as a team, practicing respect, making new friends, finding out what you can do, and having fun.
So, hello. We're here right now with 2 members of the Reading Robotics team. We're here with Akshita Rao, and you're a senior, and with Matthias Kuhls, and you're a junior, right? How long have you guys been on the Robotics?
This is my 2nd year on the team.
And this is my 3rd year. I originally came on as a programmer my freshman and sophomore years of high school, but my junior year I decided to give business a try.
You get to do all different kinds of roles on the team, so therefore you really get to expand your skill sets, I'm thinking.
So we have 2 kind of sides to the team. So we have a business side and a technical side. So the technical side really works with the robot and the mechanical parts of it, whereas the business side raises money and funds the robot. So it's kind of like a mini startup company, and that's kind of our vision on it. So we kind of work to raise the funds to end up building the robot at the end.
Great. So tell me about the fundraising. So you need to raise money to build the robot, you just said, but what else do you need money for?
So a few of the things that we need money for is first registration. In FIRST, you have to register for all the events you participate in, and that takes a majority of our budget. Another thing that we have to do is we have to stock our shop. So we have to buy all the materials we're given, and we also have to buy all of the tools that we have to use.
We also host the North Shore District event at our very own high school field house, and it actually takes about most of our funding and to rent out the field house and host the event for about 3 days. And we have about 40 to 45 teams attend, and in total I think we get about 5,000 spectators each day.
Tell us about the different skills you're supposed to learn by participating in this.
Teamwork and leadership, and also working together as a team. And there are many times where we also work with our mentors, so they're kind of guiding us along, so we learn through them as well. It's more of a process where we try things out. If it doesn't work, we try something new. So it's a lot of testing and trial. And we're given about 6 weeks to build our robot.
Now you're given a set of materials you can use to build it though, right? You can't just use anything you want. You have to build it out of a kit of materials.
So we're given a kit of parts at the beginning of the year, but they don't restrict you to just using that. You're allowed to buy from different companies out there. There is, however, the restriction of a part cannot cost more than some amount that they say every year, because otherwise the wealthier teams might attach, say, like a jet engine to the robot.
Yeah,
that would
don't
be
want that to happen.
particularly-
So I think there's like a financial budget of $4,000 per robot.
Okay, and you guys won the engineering award.
So it was the Engineering Inspiration Award, and it kind of combines how our team performs technically, but also at the same time how we do a lot of community outreach and kind of inspire other kids to pursue engineering at the end. So our key selling point, I think, was the FLL teams, where we have many of our team members actually coach the younger teams as well. So it's kind of that relationship there as well that helped us win.
So you got invited to the Nationals, and they're in St. Louis, is that right?
Yes.
Yep.
And you're not going to go this year.
I think we planned on going every 2 or 3 years, depending on how good our robot is, and we decided to focus more on our outreach activities during the postseason event rather than going and spending time at Worlds.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So that basically people, it sounds like, come back year after year and stay on the team, and then they get to travel, but also there are a lot of regional events too, is that right?
Yes.
Even outside of the competition? Now you brought your robot, right?
We did, yes.
Yay, let's check it out. So here's the robot, and what do you want us to know about this robot?
All right, so this robot's name is Pandora. What we'll be demonstrating here is the climbing mechanism.
Well done.
We were very proud of our robot this year, though we didn't get picked for the playoffs. It's usually not that matters, it's about having fun.
Thank you so much for building this and coming in and spending time today. You were taking AP exams, and yet you pulled yourself away to do this, so thanks a lot.